Hi, I'm giving a PearDeck presentation on student engagement and strategies for online success. I'm going to walk you through that PearDeck and show you some of it from a student perspective, but the whole thing from a teacher perspective. So I've started this as a PearDeck. PearDeck is one of those awesome strategies that you can use in your classroom to get students engaged during the lesson. So I'm going to copy the link to this and share that link with students. So I'm going to show you what happens when I do that to log in as a student. It's going to ask me at first how I'm feeling, and then it's going to take me to the first slide of the presentation, which is this. And this is how we often start class. How are you feeling? Sometimes it's other options, and we'll go over those, but this is a pretty common one. And we'll use different images, and you're going to type how you feel. You can use multiple words. You see, you can add another response. So what does it look like from a teacher perspective? Well, I'm going to need to click Start Class to find out. And I just see the slide. I don't have the bar for a response. That's only on the student side. Okay, so now here is where I'm going to navigate through the slides as a teacher. Here's something else that we do. Use different check-in scales, like here's a Baby Yoda one, here's one based on artwork. If you click right here, there's a link to a video that goes over a lot of ideas that I use. So you see if you click here in that presentation, it takes you right to my video. But what does this look like for a student? For this one, they're just asked to enter a number that reflects their mood. Now, I would not have two showing up for a class on one day. We would just use one. Here are some other options. Baby scale, asking them about how much sleep. Sleep is so relevant, and sometimes we forget to check and make sure how students are doing. Here's something else that I use, a scavenger hunt. So find something green, find something related to the lesson. So what represents the nutrient we use for quick energy? So hopefully they remember that's carbohydrates, and what are they going to find and bring? And encouraging them to turn on their cameras. Something else we can use, conversation starters. Okay, they love these actually. A lot of would you rather type questions. Let me show you what it looks like as a student. So now they have all these options. So for these types, they could go with a pen and just circle. So summer or winter, for me, for example, it would be winter. Now that was a little on the thick side for the pen. So I'm going to shrink that way down. Okay, I could do a line, I could do a highlighter, so I could highlight instead and choose winter. I would choose tacos. Okay, I think I would rather be very short. All right, and then they can type a response or write it using the pen for to answer the other two. Now, realistically, in a class, I'm not going to put all of these up at once, maybe a couple, just to get the conversation going. It really helps. Students are unmuting and talking. These, I like Mad Gabs and Rebus puzzles. Mad Gabs, you keep saying it faster and faster until you figure out what it is. Rebus puzzles, this represents words visually. So this is a panned hub hare, a panned hub hare, a panda bear. And this is metaphor, a metaphor. Okay. Be flexible. So you don't have to get political to address major world and school events. It's important to let students know you actually see them and hear them. So here's an example after the election. Election day is over. The election is not, which was true. How are you feeling? Okay, and reminding them to be respectful and honest and to speak their truth without insulting. After the insurrection at the Capitol, so you may have seen the news. These are unprecedented times. How are you feeling? You can share your thoughts, be respectful. Students are affected by more than we realize. They're people, not just empty vessels we got to throw some knowledge into. Okay, so see them, hear them. I've addressed things in my classroom like suicide, death, homelessness, George Floyd's death, Black Lives Matter, 9/11, terrorism, and so much more. It's important that you don't necessarily have to politicize it, but just really have a sense. What are your students thinking about? How are they feeling? It's going to be a distraction for them to learn if they have all of this extra weight on them. And it doesn't have to take the whole class period. 5, 10 minutes, just to get a thermometer reading of the class. Weekly grade forms. So we use these, we call them check-ins now, and it holds students accountable, but also gives them some ability to provide some feedback for us. So we say, how did this lesson go? Okay, how do you feel about this strategy we're using? Do you think your grade is fair? Okay, you can see sample questions that we've asked recently. Some have right answers, some have wrong answers. Mostly it's just to get some feedback, and that's important. Okay, get student input. It helps us drive our lessons forward. Here's some sample data. You can see a question we asked, do you think this grade is fair? How often do you check your grade on Infinite Campus? And how many mail notifications, which I realized is a big problem for students. They aren't necessarily opening the messages. All right, we use asynchronous discussion for check-in when we have asynchronous days. And it's an easy way, it's consistent, it's reliable, and also it gives us the flexibility to introduce a needed topic whenever we need. So when the insurrection at the Capitol happened, we modified the discussion for the day. Okay, and here you can see some examples of questions that we use. Now I can tell there's a student response required here, which is type an additional question idea, and right here is what the students would see, the availability to answer right here. It's important to provide tools for success, whether students are absent, need more repetition, or have technical difficulties. So the way that we do it is provide multiple avenues for students to access the same information. So there's a video, there's a PowerPoint, which we turn into a PDF, and we build a Quizlet of the vocabulary. Okay, and all of those will be on a note page. And so if you click on each of these, it would take you directly to that. So if you click here, it's going to take you. This is the PDF of these notes that students can access if they miss something, they want to go back, they want to review something. Okay. And so that is accessing the PDF. You can do the same thing, accessing a video or the Quizlet. So whatever happens to work best for them. Okay. We incorporate lots of practice. We started using assessments, even though they aren't tests, it's just classwork. In Schoology, it's a blue puzzle piece, and we create a 5 to 10 question self-grading review of recent content. Students can take it up to 3 times, okay? And it allows them to be successful, even if they struggled at first. Offering rewards and its incentives. So virtually, we've been checking off notes and then awarding homework passes to students who complete a certain number of those assignments. Consistency and access to help, routines, procedures is important. So here is the banner that we have in Schoology. If I click on this, I can show you the banner. Okay, it has clickable links to most things that students would need to get help on. So they want to get to my website, click here. Okay, they want to find the procedure review, click here. And this is as the banner in the class, so they can access it whenever they need to. And all of this helps to build relationships with students. They're much more likely to engage in the lesson, first of all, if you spent the time to build those relationships. So now how do you engage them in the lesson? So we've built relationships, we get it started. How does that happen? So one tool we use is Mentimeter. It has some great tools for quick anonymous feedback and student input. Students really like a lot of the features, and I really like the simplicity of it. Okay, so here is a start right here. Enter at least one word in the Mentimeter, which is how are you feeling right now? So you can submit more than once. So I'm going to just enter this a few times just so that you can see what happens. And so I'm just going to enter those. All right. Now I'm going to want to click next question, which is going to wait then for the teacher. So now when I go to this next screen, so here are your results. So let's go back. What does it look like? Okay. You can see I had typed happy in multiple times. So do you see how it's larger and tired is smaller? And it really just gives a quick little thermometer reading of how students are feeling. Okay. Here are some other examples, something you like about winter. So here's one that happened. Here's one that will be in a sample that allows students to give quick feedback. So let's look at a sample Mentimeter. So right here you can see this one in the lesson. I will take you through it and you'll be able to see exactly what happens during a Mentimeter. So here is a self-paced version of it. So let me just show you really quickly. We'll go to this next question. Next, I'm in a self-paced version, okay? So I'm gonna go next and click here, okay? And again, there are a lot of ideas. So this is when you do a self-paced version, I can kind of click through and get some feedback, okay? Play pause it. So play pause it kind of like Edpuzzle, although it has a lot more question options, okay? And you can do it live or you can have it self-paced. We almost always do it self-paced, give students a chance to either review or introduce something. Okay, so here are all of the question types. I like this pause one as a, if I were doing this with them, what would I say to you at this point? So give a quick note, a comment, or some directions. Okay, so that annotation is useful. I use multiple choice, check all, fill in the blank, probably the most often because those are self-checking. Again, make your life a little bit easier and have some of it self-grading. PearDeck, we're using a PearDeck right now, okay? You can see here's a question on the side where students, this is a multiple choice question, where students would choose their answer that's true for them. Here are some options in PearDeck. There are some social emotional checks built right in, and then there are these question options. These first four in the top row are available even if you do not have a pro account. The bottom two options are only available if you pay or during your first month trial. Class Kick, probably one of my favorites. This allows you to literally see student work live as they're doing it, type on their paper, on their work, help them, show them how to do something, okay? So here's an example. So this literally a screenshot. This one that is an outline tells you which slide, which page the student is on. If you have built-in correct and incorrect answers, you can see it shows you how many points students have gotten. If it's all green, they got everything right, okay? You can see you can put in manipulative. That means you can move boxes around or move items around, fill in the blank and multiple choice, but students can do all kinds of things like write with a pen, add a text box, highlight, add lines, links, audio, video, so much. And as the teacher, you can literally type comments. You can add stickers, and you can see right here, here's a green hand. This is a student raising their hand saying, please check this page. This orange hand says a student raising their hand, they need help. This is an outstanding tool for teachers to be able to navigate a whole class virtually. BLOOKET, this is probably my favorite tool for quick review. Students love it. It's fun. There are lots of game options. Gold Quest, one of our favorites. There are two, Tower of Doom and Crazy Kingdom, that can only be done as homework. The remaining, you can host a live game. Okay. When we do this presentation, we're going to go through a BLOOKET. I would start it. You would enter the ID right here, and we would go through and do a practice BLOOKET together. Okay, truly one of the most engaging activities we have found. All right, classroom screen. What is this? So there's a couple options for if you want to share some information with students. What I like about this one is you can throw up a clock, you can throw up a stopwatch, you can throw up a timer, okay? I've used this a lot in class when we were in person for a sound level check, okay? And just as to determine how loud they were being. So again, normally this would be in the front of the room, and it would judge for how loud it is based on what I want. So I can decide right here, I want low sensitivity because I'm literally talking right next to it, okay? And I can decide my maximum volume level. Do I want it, do you see how the bar moved down? Okay. Do I want students just whispering? Okay. Do I want them talking normally? Do I want it to, can I allow it to be really loud? And my sensitivity is going to change how sensitive the microphone is when it picks it up. Okay. I can do random name generators. So if I just type, and you can just copy from a like a Word document or something, your list of students, and then just do choose, and it's going to randomly pick a name. Okay, so that's a great quick tool. You can roll dice, you can add media, lots of things that you can do here. This is an excellent tool. So even more ideas. There's Nearpod, there's Edpuzzle, there's Flipgrid, there's Whiteboard.fi, although there's a couple other ones that I'm in the process of looking at, which I believe I might like a little bit more. And along the lines of BLOOKET, we have Quizzes, Kahoot, GymKit, and Quizlet. Phew, that's a lot, right? Okay, so you can share any feedback. So on this screen, this is what it looks like. Again, we're back to this. You can draw, you can type, whatever on the screen. It gives you my email address, the link to my YouTube channel, and now that I'm finishing making the video, the link to this video will show up here. But here's a link to the self-paced version of this PearDeck. It'll be open for only a couple weeks. So if you click on this and it's beyond that couple week version, that time frame, you won't be able to run through it. But this video shows you the whole presentation, and I will put all the links in a description. Okay, so hopefully this helps, gives you some ideas and strategies for increasing student engagement and building relationships in the classroom.